Okay, so today we're going to go over question 20. Each of 25 adult women was asked to provide her own height y in inches and the height x in inches of her father. The scatter plot below displays the results. Only 22 of the 25 pairs were distinguishable because some of the xy pairs were the same. The equation of the least squares regression line is y hat equals 35.1 plus 0.427x. Part A. Draw the least squares regression line on the scatter plot above. So using the equation for the least squares regression line, we can and I just kind of do a sketch of the graph, draw it, which is pretty much in the middle of all the points. So part B, one father's height was x equals 67 inches, and her daughter's height was y equals 61 inches. Circle the point on the scatter plot above that represents this pair and draw the segment on the scatter plot that corresponds to the residual for it. Give the numerical value for the residual. So this point would be somewhere around here, at x equals 67 and y equals 61. And in order to find what the residual value would be, we have to first find what the predicted value is. So we plug in the x value, which is 67, in our least squares equation, and we get y hat equals 63.709. And then to find the residual, it's actual minus the predicted. So the actual we saw in the problem was 61. We just calculated that the predicted was 63.709. So the residual is negative 2.709. And part C, suppose the point x equals 84, y equals 71 is added to the data set. Would the slope of the least squares regression line increase, decrease, or remain about the same? So the slope would remain about the same because that point would be very close on the least squares regression line. And in order to change that, it would need to be have a big residual. And then would the correlation increase, decrease, or remain the same? Explain. So yeah, so the correlation coefficient would increase because as the points are more closer to the least squares regression line, the correlation coefficient increases. So having a point really close to that line will simply increase the correlation. So now looking at the scoring. So for part 1, we correctly drew the regression line, so we would get an E. For section 2, we correctly computed the residual to be negative 2.709, so we get an E. In section section 3, first part of C, we get an E because we said the slope would remain about the same and provided an explanation. And for section 4, the second part of C, we'd also get an E because we stated that the value of the correlation coefficient will increase, and we provided an explanation of why. Thank you.